Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live educational webinar. We're going to get started in just about a minute, but we're going to go ahead and give everybody else one last chance to get into session. Um, so stay tuned. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
Don't say anything. Oh, shoot.
Wonderful. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Don McKenzie, and I'm coming to you from Walt Disney World. And today we've got two awesome speakers. You're familiar with Dr. Brock Rondeau from Rondeau Seminars, and we've got also Scott Manning. Scott Manning, MBA with Dental Success Today. And really a fantastic session. Tonight's session is called Critical Keys to a Successful Practice in Orthodontics and Practice Management. And this educational webinar is put on by Rondeau Seminars and organized by the fantastic work of Lee Larstone. And it's going to feature Dr. Brock Rondeau. He's going to speak a lot about orthodontics. He's got really some exciting stuff with he's got the new Carrière motion appliances, which is one of the hottest appliances out there. And it's collecting class 2 malocclusions in children. And also he's going to delve into a little bit of how to eliminate headaches and deep overbites in children. He's going to go over 3 cases, so stay tuned. That's going to be fantastic. Then Scott's got these critical keys to your practice management. He's going to go over effective team, how to work with your team, establish policies and procedures, and talk about high volumes of new patients that don't necessarily lead to optimal financial results, and even more. My name's Don McKenzie, and I'm the founder of Digital Rain. I'm basically a digital concierge, and I help Dr. Rondeau in the past with the website, but today, I help practices that want to achieve more online. I help him with his social media. I do branding, logos, and kind of get the most out of your digital vendors and serve as that quarterback. But tonight, we got a fun, informative session planned out for you. But before we get started and hand this over to Dr. Rondeau, what we're going to do is I need to fill you in with housekeeping. You're going to get 1 hour CE by staying in session today, half hour on practice management, half hour on orthodontics. Lee's got the exact codes for you. The polls and tests will be concluded throughout to ensure your participation. And after the completion of the course, a certificate will be emailed to you by Lee, and it's lee@rondeauseminars.com. And Lee is also going to serve any point on any CE questions. You can certainly send them to me, but she knows everything, and she'll get you that credit. Technical stuff, if you're having any issues with GoToMeeting, we found that the computer audio served as a nice backup. But if you have any support, just go ahead and call GoToWebinar support. They're really good and get you going. This session is all about you. So in that chat tool on the right side of your screen, you're basically going to see the ability to send us a message. You're also going to see questions. So if you think of a question during session, go ahead, pop it in there. We're going to have a Q&A at the end so you can get all the answers to the questions that you want to get tonight. If we don't get to your questions, it's just unlucky because we usually get a lot of questions. So we'll try and get as many as we can, but we can't go all night as much as we'd like to, but we'll get to those afterwards and we'll answer those definitely for you. So again, with that said, let's go ahead and meet our first presenter, Dr. Rondeau, and many of you have already met him, but he is a road warrior, lecturing 100 lectures a year, practices 10 days a month, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. Focuses on ortho, TMD, and sleep, and he's super excited to introduce you to this new mastership program with Scott Manning. And so I'll go ahead, and at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Rondeau. Take it away, Dr. Rondeau.
Thank you, Don, very much. So anyway, welcome everybody. So I do want to talk to you about the motion appliance, which is fantastic. We just had Dr. Carrière speak to my group in Dallas, or in Vegas, a couple of weeks ago, and but I want to tell you why I've set up this mastership program very quickly, if I could. I took Scott's course a year ago, and my practice has increased basically 25%. I have 23 new patients this week, and I do some external marketing, but Scott concentrates on internal marketing, training the staff, and communication skills, and just things that I never learned before that I'm very excited about. So we're trying to create the super dentist, so we're going to do a course together. We're going to do a course on ortho, TMD and sleep, and practice management. And there's Scott, and he's going to talk tonight for half an hour, and I've just got so many good ideas from him. I just can't tell you how much he's helped our practice. I took my whole staff down for a weekend, and they came back energized. We have meetings every week. The practice is just continuing to grow. So again, Scott, thank you very much, and I really want to introduce you to my dentists and see if they can also grow their practice. The online courses are included. So I've got $9,000 worth of online courses which are included in the fee. There's 2 sessions, year 1 and year 2. So the introductory course is 5 sessions year 1, and the advanced course is 5 sessions the same year. So we're gonna run them simultaneously. And you're allowed to bring 2 staff members to each course. And we're going to try and encourage you to start 50 cases a year at $5,500 a case, which should be $275,000. The big problem with dentists is they don't feel confident to start. So we're really going to make sure we show you lots of easy cases, and Scott's going to tell you how to get your staff trained and up and running. So there it is. There's the internet course. All the internet courses are included. The level 1, the level 2, snoring sleep apnea, and TMD, and the value is $9,180. So I'm throwing that in because I really want you to do it. And I find that if you take the course, you forget a lot. But if you have the internet course, you take it home, you're going to remember. And Scott's got all these books. I think he's written 7 books. And my staff are reading them all now. And we have meetings about the books. They're phenomenal. I mean, the books alone are worth, there's so many good ideas in those books, Scott. You've done a great job. And the course actually starts in March. We decided not to start in January. We're going to start it in March. So go online and look it up and see if you might be interested. Anyway, let's talk about the Carrière motion appliance. Okay, this is for class 2s. There's Carrière, and he just spoke with me in Vegas. He's an orthodontist from Spain, and he just does a fantastic job. And so let me show you a couple of easy cases. There it is. So it's such a simple appliance. You just have a bar that goes from the mesial 1/3 of the cuspid to the middle of the molar. That's a bar. That's all it is. And in the lower, you usually put a lingual a button or sort of a hook on the second molar, the lower second molar hook, like a bracket with a hook, and an Essex retainer. So an Essex retainer in the lower prevents the lower incisors from dumping. It's such an easy appliance. It's so well accepted by patients, you won't believe it. So here's the first case. Here's Jacob, 16 years old, okay, straight profile. He's got a class 1 cuspid, class 1 molar on the right. So you don't want to mess with that side. But look at the left side. He's got a class 2 cuspid, class 2 molar. You need to distalize the left side. And this is so simple. So Carrière's philosophy is fix the sagittal first, okay? Just fix the sagittal first. He showed a lot of cases where they fixed the sagittal first and then finished in Invisalign or finished in straight wire. But fixing the sagittal first when the patient is cooperative is a good idea. So there it is, class 2 cuspid, class 2 molar. And there's the Carrière motion appliance. It's just a simple little bar that fits on the cuspid and the molar. And you have a ruler and just measure from the mesial 1/3 of the cuspid to the middle of the molar. And just take your ruler and measure it. And the most popular size are 23, 25, and 27. Okay, 23 millimeters, 25, and 27 millimeters. And I recommend you measure it on a model and not in the mouth. If you measure in the mouth, it may not stick. It may come off. So again, middle of molar to mesial 1/3 of the cuspid. And there it is. Such a simple little appliance. So here it is. So now we're going to just etch the cuspid and the molar. And then we're going to dry it all off. And then we're going to put the motion appliance right on there. And we just put the bonding material in the motion appliance and just put it on there and light cure it. And they stay on very well. And then you want to put a bracket on the lower second molar. And then I took an impression for, well, that's putting the bracket on, I guess. And then there I took an impression for the lower Essex retainer. And then the lab makes the Essex retainer with the brackets on the second molars. And there's the Carrière appliance on the upper left. Nothing on the upper right. The upper right was fine. And then put the Essex retainer on with that second molar, second bracket on the second molar, lower second molar. And there it is. So just hook it up, and now all we have to do is add the elastic. And so the first elastic we use is a 6-ounce elastic. It's called Force 1. You wear that elastic for 1 month, and then you go to a Force 2 elastic, which is an 8-ounce elastic. And you can see there the patient has a Class 2 cuspid, Class 2 molar. And look at that. In 2 months, it's corrected. In 2 months, wearing an 8-ounce elastic the second month and a 6-ounce elastic the first month, that whole side has gone back. And now you don't have a Class 2 cuspid anymore. You got a Class 1. You don't have a Class 2 molar anymore. You got a Class 1. I mean, how simple is that? And Carrière suggests you leave that on for 5 months to make sure it doesn't relapse. So what you could do is switch back to a 6-ounce elastic, and you change the elastics after every meal. And there's the difference. I mean, that's unbelievable. 2 months. I mean, my hygienists are just baffled. They can't believe, because some of them didn't go to the course, and I went to the course, and it's so simple. It's just, so 5 months, we laid that on for 5 months. So there's the, remember, Class 1 on the other side is still the same. And there's the Essex retainer, and then 5 months, we still have the same situation. Hasn't moved. Stayed right where it was. So now we can take off the Carrière and put on brackets. So we start with an 014 copper night-tie wire, and it's very important that you stainless steel tie the cuspid to the bicuspids to the molars with stainless steel, so they won't move. And so how easy is this case now? What I have to do is just close the spaces between the anterior teeth and just make sure that nothing moves from the cuspid back, and then work on the deep overbite. So maybe I'll have to put in a ricinator or something to open up that bite, and I'll show you the ricinator at the end of this presentation. Now, one of the ideas I got from Scott is to give the patient a gift. And so I have been handing out Straight Talk About Crooked Teeth. And that's Dr. Kent Lawson, who's an orthodontist. And it's kind of interesting because I hand them out to all patients who are very interested in doing functional jaw orthopedics, no extractions, no surgery. They love this book. And Scott's right. It says $28 inside. I got a deal on it because I bought it from Dr. Lawson about $300. And I got so excited about the book, I'm writing my own book now. So eventually, hopefully next year, 2018, I'll be handing out my own book on early orthodontic treatment and TMD and sleep, but mostly early orthodontic treatment. Anyway, so there's the book. And then Scott, this is new, this just came in yesterday. We decided that we'll give our orthodontic patients the book, but what are we going to give our sleep patients and our TMD patients? So here's one, this bottle it's a water bottle. It's really nice, very attractive. We care about your health. We treat TMD, snoring, sleep apnea, and our website. And Dawn, you helped me with my website years ago, and it really made a difference because we're very, very busy now, and I think the website really helps. And then Scott, on the other side of the book, or of the bottle, we got Dr. Rondeau, my phone number, Creating Beautiful Smiles with Orthodontics and Functional Appliances. So we give all our TMD sleep patients the bottle, water bottle, and all the ortho patients the book. As you say, we've got to create the wow factor in the practice. You want to do something that they don't expect. And don't give them a toothbrush, give them something else. You can still give them the toothbrush, but I think giving them something else really works. So this just shows that I'm still working hard to build my snoring practice. And here's a presentation I'm putting on November 28th at the Masonville Library about, it's a free course on snoring and sleep apnea. We usually get about 15 people coming, and usually we make 5 or 6 appointments. Now let's talk about another Class 2 case, okay? So here's another Class 2 case. Now, the Carrière always is the same on the top. It's a bar from the cuspid to the first molar. You always got a Class 2 elastic, but sometimes we put lingual arches on the lower. So you can either do an Essex retainer to the second molar with a bracket, or if there's a band on there, it's a lingual arch. And again, you do the measurement from the meso, the cuspid, meso 1/3 of the cuspid to the middle of the molar. And there it is. You can see the lingual arch on the lower, and you can see the Carrière on the upper. And here's Sarah. She's kind of, I would say she's a little slow, a little slower than most girls, but fantastic. What a great person. And we had planned to put a Mara in for her, and and she objected. She started to cry when she saw the Mara. So luckily, I had the Carrière that I could put on because I know the Carrière is really well accepted by patients. So here she is with a 6mm deep overbite and a 6mm overjet. So she's biting on the roof of her mouth, and you can see there's a large overjet there. And so I do a TMJ evaluation with a joint vibration analysis and found out that both condyles are in the proper position, and she's got no vibrations, so her TMJ is normal, both joints. Now the advantage of the Carrière, you can see from the photo on the left, many class 2s. In fact, they're saying that up to 81% of class 2s have a measly rotated molar. And this is why the Carrière is so valuable, because they'll rotate that molar around, like as you can see on the diagram on the right, how the molar is completely rotated around, and it won't over-rotate. It just goes to the right position and stops. So the engineers at Shine have really done a fantastic job of designing this. So again, this patient is going to have, because she's I think she wouldn't be a good cooperator, so I'm going to put a lower lingual arch in for her and not the Essex. So there she is, and I also like to beef up my lower lingual arch by putting mesial rests on the first bicuspids. So mesial rest and flowable composite. So there we are. We got a class 2 cuspid on the left. And Carrière says fix the sagittal first. So let's work on that first. So class 2 cuspid on the left, and there she is. Now that's after 4 months. After 4 months, I put some brackets on the anteriors. I move that cuspid back from class 2 to class 1. I move the molar back from class 2 to class 1. Okay, so there you can see it. So you can see that class 2 cuspid on the upper photo, and the lower photo, class 1 cuspid. So class 2 to class 1. I mean, patient cooperation is the best in the beginning. They'll wear those elastics for 3 or 4 months without any problem. And you see there's no friction. If you normally put brackets on and you have an arch wire in there and you put class 2 elastics, there's a tremendous amount of friction. But also, please look at what happened to the bite. The bite opened. Because what happens is the molars distalize, so that opens the bite, and the lower incisors torque labially. You flare the lower incisors a little bit. So if you've got flared incisors, I would go with the Essex retainer. If you've got upright incisors, go with the lingual arch and torque those teeth forward and open the bite. It's unbelievable. I fixed the overjet and the overbite in 4 months. I mean, just unbelievable. You get a space opening up distal to the lateral, where the whole segment goes back. It's hard to believe that elastic on both sides could move that entire segment back. It's an unbelievable appliance. Here you can see we've got a class 2 cuspid, class 2 molar. And here you can see the other side was moved back to class 3. He actually said it's not bad to be class 3, to overcorrect a little bit sometimes, because you'll get a little bit of a relapse later sometimes. So, I mean, I don't mind it going to class 3. But then I would switch to a 6-ounce elastic and not put the 8-ounce elastic on. So there she went. Look at the photo in the upper left. I mean, class 2 cuspid, class 2 molar. And look at the lower, class 3 cuspid, and maybe class 3 molar. But the big thing is, look at how the deep overbite corrected. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. We're just blown away with this appliance. And he showed some unbelievable cases in Vegas. He spoke for 4 hours. And so there's your Force 2 elastic, is the 8-ounce elastic. Remember, the first elastic is worn for 1 month, and the second elastic is worn the rest of the time. And Carrière recommends that you leave it on for 5 months for adults and 3 months for children. We're starting to use them for children too. You can look up Carrière motion appliance online, and I have my teenagers and my younger children looking it up, because it now comes in different colors. I won't have time to show you that tonight, but the bars come in red and green and all kinds of different colors for kids, and they see videos. And when they see the videos, they get all excited. So here's the left side, and you can see the patient's got a large 6mm overjet, 6mm overbite, class 2 cuspid, class 2 molar. Put this on for 4 months and look at it go back. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Plus open the bite. So very, very impressed with this appliance, and I really would advise you to talk to, in Canada, you talk to Serum Ortho, and in the US, you talk to Shine, Henry Shine Ortho, and get some of these and start using them on your class 2s. As Carrière says, correct the sagittal first. The patient's a good cooperator, put those elastics on. And you change the elastics every meal. So you put 3 elastics on or more every day. Those are heavy elastics, and they move everything back. So here's the patient with a 6 millimeter overjet. And after the Carrière, she's got a 2 millimeter overjet. So what happened was the mandible came forward 4 millimeters. And you can see the difference in the lower incisors. Look at the lower incisors here, how they're very lingually inclined. And then with the Carrière and the lingual arch, the lower incisors are torqued forward a little bit. So remember, if they're torqued forward, don't use a lingual arch. Use the Essex retainer. So I have some good notes on this. All of you who are taking my courses will be getting all my notes. And of course, it'll be in the book too. I'll be giving you excellent notes on this appliance. But I think even after tonight, and if you go online, you'll get some information too. I mean, you should be able to use this appliance. So the overbite is corrected, I believe, by the lower incisors flaring and the upper molars being distalized. So that overbite was corrected by the lower incisors flaring. You can see that, and the molars being distalized. And it just works. It's just terrific. And of course, at the end, as you know, I'm into the TMJ, and I want to make sure there's no distalization of condyles or anything. And of course, this shows very clearly that didn't happen. And Dr. Carrière showed that, and Dr. Shipley showed CT scans of the condyle in the fossa, and showed that the condyle came down and forward. It didn't go up and back, and so that was tremendous. And they also showed tremendous CT scans of the airway, and showed how the airway was significantly improved and widened with this appliance. So I mean, it's really, they haven't published any articles on that yet, but they're going to, and it really is an amazing appliance. So if you haven't tried it, you better try it. So here's the patient with the deep overbite that showed up 6 millimeters, and there she is with the overbite corrected. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm going to show you later the Rickinator, and that's a great way to open bites, but boy, this is quite easy too. And very, very impressed with this case. Unfortunately, the patient moved to Sri Lanka or someplace, and that's the last slide I've got of her. But again, that's the bite opening with the molars being distalized and the overbite being corrected. So again, that's the 2 cases I wanted to show you. Now I'll get Scott to tell you what he thinks of the dental profession, how you can improve your practice.
Okay, before we jump over to Scott, I wanted to launch a quick poll. And so go ahead and look at your screen. And right now, go ahead and just answer. It says, I have a personal goal of doing more comprehensive dentistry. And yeah, just go ahead and select yes or no. And while you do that, I'm going to introduce Scott Manning. I know Dr. Rondeau already did it, but you know, as you mentioned, he's dedicated his last 10 years of his career to help dentists across North America basically become successful in their businesses based around their values and goals, and you know, transform them. And he wants to maximize the degree to which you experience happiness, fulfillment, and profitable dentistry. So we jump down. He's got 7 books. I'm not going to go through all the titles, but if you Google his name or go to his website, you're going to see him. He's becoming and he's emerged as a recognized industry expert. So all fantastic stuff. Okay, so I've got, yep, 80%, 85%. I got a couple more. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the poll. And I'm going to hand the screen over to you, Scott. So let's go ahead and show your screen when you're ready. And we'll get rolling. So Scott, go ahead and when you're ready, just take it away and we'll go. But thank you, Dr. Rondeau, for that quick segment. And we're going to jump back to Dr. Rondeau, and then we'll go over to Scott again for some more practice management. And then for any latecomers, we're going to also conclude the session with a question and answer. So do punch your questions in there. I'm watching them. We've got them already coming in nicely. Scott, if you can hear me, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Don. And I would say, just to Dr. Rondeau, you know, I feel so privileged to be here tonight to be able to collaborate with you on the incredible presentation. And you know, you said the many nice things about me, which I'm very grateful for. At the end of the day, you can provide all the information you want. It's the doctor who does the work to make the magic happen. So really the success and the congratulations goes to you. I don't know a man alive or not among us anymore who's influenced more dentists, inspired, impacted, and benefited more doctors on this planet than Dr. Brock Rondeau. So, you know, the thing I love so many things about him, but most of all, he walks the talk. And He's providing life-changing dentistry every single day with every patient. Tonight, as you see, we're going to be talking about differentiation. And I will tell you the number one way to differentiate is to not be like anybody else. And I can assure you that you're listening to two people that we share in common, that we are quite different. You won't find any replicas of Dr. Rondeau or myself. And I think the cases that he showed you tonight, as amazing as those are, it's just another day in the life for Dr. Rondeau, because he set his practice up to truly empower his team, to provide care for patients that is something extraordinary to them. And I thought the best use of our time tonight, as we unveil to you this really once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to participate in the first ever course that combines what we call a super dentist with the business side of the practice that you simply have to have, is to talk about the most important thing to you, and that's helping your patients. We know the reason you're here, among all others, no matter what your clinical passions are, no matter what your interests outside of the practice. At the end of the day, dentistry is a vehicle for you to help the people you care about most and the people who make your lifestyle possible. And so tonight I wanted to share with you what I consider the 7 most important elements of helping more patients say yes. And that's very important, because you know something? There's nobody we help who doesn't accept treatment. So the people who Dr. Rondeau demonstrated to you the life-changing appliance had to say yes. And so we can talk about all the business tactics and the numbers and all these things. You're listening to a doctor, okay, after decades and decades in his career, is having the best year of his life. 23 new patients most people would be happy about in a month, and he's getting in a week. Okay, because this man never stops, and that's why he's able to bring to you things as revolutionary as not only the information we have here tonight, but this program that we have put together in collaboration to help take dentists who have ambition, who are serious about not just doing a few cases here and there, but about really incorporating sleep, TMD, ortho into their practice and making it a part of what they do. And that's really what this is all about. You know, I have another very selfish reason I'm here this evening, in addition to my respect for Dr. Rondeau. It's very simple. When I look back at the last decade of my life, and I've been doing this for a lot longer than that, I see the very best doctors, the very best, are the ones that have been Dr. Rondeau students. They're the people that have armed themselves with a repertoire, okay, that gives them the ability to serve more patients in a very complete and holistic way. So for me, you know, I can teach this lifestyle and make more money and empower your team and all this stuff to anybody. I'd rather do it to the dentists who are serious, who really want to make something happen. So I want to just dive in here, and you know, have the first slide up is talking about Las Vegas. You know, Vegas experiences millions and millions of visitors, and there's so much competition. You wonder how on earth every one of these casino shows, restaurants, shows, streets filled up and are busting at the seams every single night. You know, Dr. Rondeau is famous for having his annual conference in Las Vegas every year, which I just had the pleasure of being at, and it gets bigger and better every single year as well. But you know something, Las Vegas is the epitome of being different. You won't find any commodities in this town. And you know, unfortunately for us, patients look at dentists as just more of the same. They think about cleanings and fillings, and not much beyond that. Unless we give them a reason to, unless we arm them with information. You know, there's no better way of doing that than through education. And this is what I'm going to give you tonight, 7 different ways to make this happen. So the first one, we talk about patient attraction. You know, this is the most essential element of everything you do, because this determines how patients perceive you from the very beginning. The most common approach to attracting patients used by dentists across the lands is by discounting, is nearly a bait and switch. It's about commoditizing yourself at the onset so more patients will be attracted to come to your doors. And let me explain to you something Dr. Rondeau was doing just last night. He's providing a seminar to people. He was speaking on a panel of other healthcare professionals and educating patients about the uniquenesses of how to get out of pain and how he can treat from their mouth, okay, of ways that can make them better. Now, he's doing 3 things while he's at this event. Number 1, he's educating patients. Number two, he's elevating himself to a status across other healthcare professionals. Number three, he's then going to get referrals from both the people he's on the panel with and the patients in the audience. Now, this is much different than sending out a coupon that says, hey, come to me because I'm cheap. Hey, that's the opposite of the type of patient we want to attract. And when the patients come in, you can take the same amazing patient who comes in with a $59 free cleaning offer, okay, or even a free consult, and you can have another patient, exact same person, come in, but they pay for the doctor's time to listen and understand what they're going to share with them. And the same person will value the experience differently just based on the front-end approach of attracting the patient in. The old Stephen Covey analogy of begin with the end in mind. We want our patients to do that too. So all of this is one option is commodity and discounting versus instead focusing on establishing your high value positioning with your marketplace. Positioning is essential. It's not optional. When people can type in dentist on their little phone and up pops all the red bubbles off of Google, they think every person they're looking at there is all the same thing. So the key is to be able to establish your uniqueness. You don't do this through bragging just about your credentials and telling them all about the courses you've been through and all the associations you pay to belong. You do it by being genuine and specific about your mission, by focusing on the unique qualities you and your practice bring to the table. You set the bar of their expectations for their visits so they know they are in the hands of a leader, someone who really cares enough to take control over the relationship. When you do this, you establish exclusivity. You play hard to get because you are, and you're worth it. This is just like Dr. Rondeau providing the book. Okay? There's nobody else providing an educational book of testimonies and life-changing stories anywhere in his city. So you do things that make you obviously different. The next element that is so critical to your success is really about the initial engagement. Now, I like to think of one word, and Dr. Rondeau reminds me of this word very often. He gives me a lot of credit for it, but he's not so bad himself. And that is the word communication. Without communication, we have nothing, okay? Nothing exists. So unless we have an ability to convey the significance, the importance, the severity, the urgency of helping a patient get out of pain, be able to sleep again, be able to have straighter teeth, a better smile, greater confidence, or their child to be able to develop properly, to not be angry and wound so tight because they get no oxygen at night. All the things that you know, certainly you're the experts at. We have to be able to educate up front. Here's when most doctors tell the patients about why they need something. After the patient is questioning the price. Here's one simple tactic I will give to you tonight. If you do everything that you know to do, one step ahead of when you do it now, okay, you will be amazed at what it does to case acceptance. I will give you an example. We educate the patient on the phone, not after they walk through the door. We ask questions about their life and get to know them before, not after. Okay? We show demonstratable proof, what I call the 3 Ps, pictures, proof, and pain. Not after we present a treatment, but way before. We provide gifts, not after they pay us, but before. Okay? We go over investment options before we talk about scheduling. Everything moves in advance, one step. By doing that, you're creating initial engagement that guides and controls the patient's outcome versus waiting to be defensive. Now, spending real time as you get to know the patient and letting them get to know you and making it personal. You're making the effort to conduct a complete health assessment. When you walk into an office of any person Dr. Rondeau has been educating, hopefully most of you here tonight, you're going to have that chance at the end of the presentation. You are looking at the mouth differently than many of your colleagues. Perhaps I say most. And listen, I'm not a doctor, so I can say, I wouldn't call them colleagues. Okay? There are certain dentists who's elevated themselves above all others because they've taken a truly comprehensive, not just of the teeth, the gums, the bite, and the smile, but of actually the overall whole body health of the patient. when you get into airway and occlusion and all the different components and the variables, okay, the pain, the joint, the jaw, all these other things that you know that you're learning from the master, these things allow you to truly elevate your positioning and differentiate what you're doing. Now, if you do not explain this to the patient with full transparency, the patient doesn't know any different. So it's very important that you understand your clinical experience, which I'm going to go to after Dr. Rondeau shows his next case. Your clinical experience is not just designed for you to build a treatment plan. It's designed for you to be able to build belief in the patient about what's necessary and what's possible. By going through a complete health assessment and interviewing the patient, you get to find out their goals, their dreams, and what matters most to them. Asking great questions that show you value them and their health is really the key. Now, the third essential element is all about what I call the ground rules and goals. You must establish ground rules and goals with your patients. If you do not, the patient will stop at just looking for a Band-Aid instead of a real solution. It's not the patient's responsibility to walk in knowing what they want. Remember this, it's only the patient's responsibility to walk in. After that, the responsibility is in your hands, and that's where you should want it. You cannot succeed and reach your dreams when you're stuck with being a servant one tooth at a time. Emergency dentistry is fine, but it's not the answer to healthy patients or long-term prosperity. And this is the power behind the mastership program. Because unlike most practices that live off of emergency patients coming in, they live off getting 1 crown per patient. Okay? They live off a little bit of hygiene revenue. Okay? We're talking about building a serious business that's sophisticated enough that has multiple income streams. Now, when I say multiple income streams, you think multiple procedures. You think different niches that are built inside of your practice. When we grow sleep, ortho, TMD, we not only feed the success of your general practice, okay, but we also feed the opportunity for more patients to refer. The real ability to build a successful business that serves your patients while facilitating your goals is what the Master Program is really all about. Now, if you want to know the secret behind getting patients to say yes, it's all about controlling expectations over your time, over what you provide, over what you expect from them. You want to make the patient a participant. Okay? Dentistry doesn't happen to someone, it happens with them. We believe every patient has responsibilities no different than your team members. Establishing and maintaining your authority as a doctor, this is not negotiable. You are the expert in oral health. That's why they come to you. No patient goes to a restaurant without intending to eat. No patient comes to the doctor without intending to get healthy. It is our assumption about that that will lead to greater results. The fourth essential element is about establishing relationships and loyalty. You are demonstrating to your patients the degree to which you care about them. Do you bring them in one after another, each visit a frantic rush, every patient just one more number? You know, I was just speaking with somebody today. They told me they had 9 new patients yesterday. I said, that's insane. Okay, how many minutes did each of those people get? And tell me the treatment value that each accepted. Because the goal is never about a volume of people. Okay? The goal is always about the percentage of total case acceptance on the treatment plan that's going to provide your patient with optimal care. Now, the secret to that is about engaging your team. I call it team-driven diagnosis. And this is one of the most foundational pieces to creating leverage in your practice. If you have one stream of diagnosis coming just from the doctor, and understand I don't mean legal diagnosis, I mean about patient engagement, patient influence, patient relationships. This secret is about expanding the reach of the doctor beyond the one patient at a time, just when they're sitting with you in the operatory. And that's how you establish real relationships. And I'll finish this segment of the presentation by saying this. Are you investing in each individual patient with your time, your emotions, your insight? Are you doing what it takes to build both trust and establish the foundation for long-term retention of the people coming in? There is nothing, no procedure, okay, no dentistry on earth that creates greater loyalty from their patients than orthodontics, than TMD, and sleep dentistry. These three components are the secret sauce to longevity of building a healthy, sustainable general practice that feeds itself with referrals, with more specialty work. Okay, you can grow your practice by just piling on volumes of people, or you can grow it by providing life-changing care. And this is something that involves you and your team. And each of the pillars contained in the master program Dr. Rondeau mentioned, okay, is going to be a critical element of helping you to not have to carry the weight, the burden, the responsibility of growth on your shoulders, but being able to get your team involved so that everyone's on the same page with communication and with all 7 of the elements I'm sharing with you tonight. So I'll throw it back to Dr. Rondeau to show another life-changing case, and I hope I gave you some good tips to take home with tonight and to empower your team tomorrow morning.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Scott. Can everybody hear me? Of course.
Can hear you.
Good, good. Okay, so I put a quick poll up on the screen. I prefer to figure things out on my own instead of finding shortcuts to success. So go ahead, fill out the poll, answer quickly, and then once everybody's in, we're going to throw it back to Dr. Rondeau, and we'll get going. But Scott, wonderful, wonderful elements. Dr. Rondeau, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter at this point. And when you're ready, you can start talking. I'm going to let this poll go another 10 seconds. By the way, 93% of you answered yes to the first poll question. Okay, another 10 seconds here. We're going to switch it out. All right, 70%, 75%, 80%. Okay, we're going to close that poll. So here we go. So the results there, 40% said yes. Dr. Rondeau, can you share your screen now? Do you see an option to? So 40% of you said yes, you prefer to figure things out. 60% said no. Okay, Dr. Rondeau, if you're ready, go ahead and take it away on your last case.
Super, good job, Scott. My screen's not changing.
Beautiful, I've got your screen now.
We can't seem to change the slides.
Okay.
I think that in the mastership program, we're going to have 2 staff members come to every meeting. So 2 staff members will come hear me speak on ortho, TMD, and sleep, and 2 staff members will hear Scott speak, because Scott's going to speak in the evening, Friday and Saturday night, and half-day Sunday. So it's a 3-day course, 2.5 days, but Scott speaks 2 evenings, and I can tell you, you're going to pick up a lot of good information from him. So we're still not changing, Lee. Lee, the screen is still not changing. Yeah. So, sorry about that, everybody. We're going to try and get this to change. It was good before.
Why don't we do some questions? You want to do some questions while we wait for that to resolve? Sound like a good idea?
Sure. Has anybody got a question?
Yeah, so Dr. Donji had asked, does the SX go over the hook of the molar tube? And then he had a follow-up question, or do you request the lab to keep space for the hook to be exposed?
I like the bracket to go on first and have the lab make the SX right over it. Okay? So we're still not switching, are we? Crazy. Anyway, so yeah, put the hook on first, put the bracket on first, take the impression for the SX and have the lab make it right over. In fact, the other thing that Dr. Carrière was showing, he was recommending that you put brackets on the 6 and the 7, and if the bracket falls off the 7, just put the elastic on the 6. So he was showing some amazing things. Now this is amazing that we can't get this thing to go here. So Jack Trout there wrote a book, Differentiate or Die, and of course that's what most of you are doing. You're certainly differentiating your practice, and There's Don. Good looking guy.
You're too kind, too kind. Okay, so threw back the presenter to me. Let me ask you another question, and then I'll send this back to you. It says, how much Dr. Pittick, and my apologies if I'm mispronouncing your names, how much distalization can we achieve at most without dumping?
Without dumping the lower incisors? I think, and I've just started to use the motion appliance the last 7 months, I think that it's for overjets of no more than 6 millimeters. I think if your overjet is more than 6 millimeters, I'm still leaning towards the Mara appliance. But for overjets less than 6 millimeters, I think the motion appliance has been working great for me. And you're not going to get the mandible forward completely. You saw that with that last case. I had a 6 millimeter overjet and brought the mandible forward 3. Because you really want to bring the mandible forward just so you get a class 1 cuspid, class 1 molar, right? Get a class 1 cuspid, class 1 molar. Go from there. Think we're in good shape now, Lee? Okay. Differentiator die, Jack Clark. Okay, we'll zip through this. So bring 2 staff members. That's the key to the course. And they will learn. Yeah, that's funny. It stopped again. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's go through this and let me show you that case. And get the books. All his books are included with the fee for the course. I guess if you sign up for the course, I think we'll send you those 7 books right away. And it starts March 16th and 18th, and it's right there in Nashville. I took my staff, as I said, to Nashville. It's a great city. It's country and western. So if you like country and western bars, there's a lot of good bands trying out to make it in the big time in Nashville, and it was just an exhilarating experience. We just had a blast. It's a very safe city, and it's a great city, and that's where the course is. Scott lives in Nashville, so he'll be coming over every Friday and Saturday night and half-day Sunday to teach. So it's very convenient for him. We went to the course because of him. So talk to Lee at Rondeau Seminars if you're interested in either level 1 or level 2 of the course, which are going to happen simultaneously. There's also, look at the website under Mastership Program, see what's going on. So Scott also recommended that I put this little TV in my reception room and hook up a flash drive. And I had made this commercial about 10 years ago on TMD and sleep and ortho, and I showed it, and I went out to the waiting room one day, and that guy was sitting there because his daughter is in ortho, and he said, I had no idea it did sleep. And that's Scott's point. You really have to make sure your patients know everything you do. And that's why I'm giving them all that little water bottle that says TMD, sleep, and ortho on it. Just hopefully they'll remember that when I give them one of those. But, and there I am still giving presentations in libraries and writing articles in journals. That one's on starring sleep apnea. And there's the Carrière motion. Okay, so this is great for adults. Okay, so it's a clear motion appliance, perfect for adults. So there he is with a weak smile. He's an adult, as you can see. He's got a class 2 molar and class 2 cuspid. I think that what he had ortho before, and he had extraction on the lower. And so many times, though, remember with class 2s, you have to expand the upper a little bit. So I used a fixed titanium expander to expand them. And then, of course, we put the neocrystal clear brackets on. So again, if you don't put clear brackets on, there's a lot of adults that don't want ortho. So make sure you have the clear brackets, and the neocrystal are fantastic. Again, Serum Ortho in Canada and Shine in the US, and those dots come right off, of course. And so we're expanding a little bit, and then I actually wasn't planning to use the Carrière on them so I lined all the teeth up, and then later made my decision. And see, if you want to promote, put the neocrystal brackets right on your front desk, and there they are. There's the brackets they type it on, and there's a brochure telling all the patients about the clear brackets. Patients know about Invisalign, but they don't know about clear brackets. So I think the dental company has been a lousy job of marketing them, so we have to do it. But I can tell you about once a week, a patient saying, what are these? Is this Invisalign? No, those are clear brackets. They work a little faster. So again, because he had braces on the lower, I didn't want to dump his lower incisors, I put a lingual arch on for him. So the bands on the first molars, mesial rest on the bicuspids, and flowable composite to keep it on. So there you got the bands on the molars, global composite, and mesial rest on the bicuspids, because I don't want to flare those lower incisors. Actually, I do want to flare the lower incisors. I do want to move them out a little bit. That's right. I put those on when I don't mind moving the lower incisors out. Remember, I put the Essex retainer on if I don't want them to go. So we're using the 014 copper night tie. Now, DLX means broad arch form. So Dr. Carrière was quite clear in that. He uses only the broad arch form. So when you buy your wires, get the copper because it makes the wire stronger and lasts longer, and get the DLX. So get the copper night tie DLX 014, 018. Start your cases. So then I put that on. That's very attractive, right? If you can see, clear brackets in the front, the neo crystal brackets on the front, and then you've got the Carrière clear motion appliance on the side, going from the mesial of the cuspid to the middle of the molar. It really is a very aesthetic appliance. So again, they've got the clear motion for adults, they've got colored motion for the children, and they've got the regular motion for everybody else that doesn't care about colors and doesn't care about the clear. But it's a great appliance, and it really looks good, and he was very happy. Unfortunately, I've just started him, so I don't have any more to show you, but I wanted to show you that I would get some samples of these appliances from Henry Schein or Serum Ortho, because have them on a typodont to show the patient what they look like. And you'll find that when patients can see it, and they will say, let's go, I would want that. And you can see that that's certainly more comfortable to wear than a Ricanator. It's more comfortable to wear than a Mara appliance. And again, I think if the overjet is slight, say 5 to 6 millimeters, I think the Carrière motion appliance is just ideal for that. So again, use the Force 1 elastic, the 6-ounce elastic the first month, and you use the 8-ounce elastic after that. So again, I think I have one more case on the Ricanator to show you, but I'd rather have Scott maybe come back in and talk about a little bit about how you can improve your practice. So Scott, I'm going to go back to you to finish the presentation.
Okay.
Scott, are you?
Yep, I'm here.
Either way, we're going to start our hard questions of Scott as well. So take it away, Scott.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Dr. Rondeau. Amazing case. I know, based on the questions we're getting, I have no doubt the doctors could sit here with you all night. So just remember, you got to work tomorrow. So we'll, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just quickly fly through the last 3 elements, and then I'll share with you some of the principles we'll be covering in the mastership program, which will really, really allow you to do something that people talk about, but nobody really believes it's possible. We call that working smarter, not harder. And in the mastership program, you will learn the core fundamentals, and well, let me say, not learn, okay? You're going to implement. We're going to have live interactive implementation. Every single time you get on an airplane, you come to Nashville, you go back home, you're going to see growth in your practice. There's a beautiful guarantee included within the program that I promise to you the percentage of growth achieved in your practice, course after course after course. So you're coming 5 times, so you can only imagine what's going to happen. And I don't talk about small numbers. So here's what we're going to do. This is a clinical experience. This is where most doctors, quite frankly, this is where they drop the ball. The clinical experience is not just about you saying clinical mumbo jumbo over to your assistant and letting them put it into the computer. This is really about patient believability. This is about the patient taking ownership. And this is the word you want to write down. The patients will buy solutions to problems that they own. They will not buy just diagnosis done by a doctor. Okay? They will buy solutions to problems that they own. And within this clinical experience, this is what we have to have happen. The most important thing for you is to follow through with assumption that every patient wants what's best for themselves. Do you know that many doctors apologize for treatment? Okay? I say you celebrate. Patient walked in with a mouth that is in the state because of something going on in their life, not yours. You should celebrate the opportunity to tell them what you can do to help. Just because it comes with an investment based on your life sacrifice and your education, you should be proud of that. Now, let's see here. I don't think my slide is moving either. There we go. So here we have what I said earlier to you about making the patient a participant. I'm going to give you one, let's see. Are my slides showing? It's giving me funny symbols here. Don, is the slide showing?
I see your clinical experience slide.
Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, so what I want to tell you, I'm going to give you one little tip here, and we'll go into more details during the course. We'll actually role play, we'll practice. Can you imagine actually practicing the non-clinical portion of dentistry? So this is what I call the triangle of trust. There are 3 core triangles within the patient experience. The first one is when the front desk, or ideally your patient concierge or treatment coordinator, is handing the patient off to the clinical person. That's the first triangle. Second triangle is when the clinical team member has built the case, hygienist or assistant, doesn't matter, okay, and they have shown the patient proof through photographs, x-rays, JVAs, whatever you're doing to establish the proof of the patient's current state of health. They're then triangling that into the doctor. When the doctor comes in the room, it's the clinical team member's job to fully present the findings in the case in front of the patient to the doctor. We never want our doctors to be the bad guy or girl. Okay? We want them to be what I call the superhero. We want them to come in and solve problems, not be the bearer of bad news. So the clinical people have to do the dirty work to set the doctor up properly. The third triangle, and they're all important, but the third triangle is the most important. This is where we establish case acceptance clinically before we ever move to money or insurance. Now, that's the third triangle of trust. So the second part of this clinical experience is now when we move to treatment and money. Now, this is very important because most people, they get what we call one and done dentistry, or I call hand to mouth. This means that you're getting one tooth at a time, you're getting what insurance pays for. Now, there are some people who have such amazing practices that are doing sleep, TMD, ortho, and you know what happens at the end of the patient experience clinically? The patient wants to get pre-approvals from the insurance, and they send you off on some secretarial battle to go find out if you can get free health care for the patient, okay, while they wander off back home, and then you do all this legwork just to have to chase the patient down to let them know how much is going to be paid. I want you to listen to what I'm about to say because I guarantee it. We will have the majority, by majority let's call it 70% or more, patients pay the day they're diagnosed for the solution that you present. It happens every time in every corner of North America, and everybody says it's not possible, and I do it practice after practice after practice. So imagine this. The patient will say yes when they're most excited about it. That's the day they found out. If you provide an amazing experience and you send the patient home to go think about it, you're just ruining the whole process. Okay, it's like Winnie the Pooh with the red balloon. It's deflating by the time they walk through the door. You got to keep the patient there, okay, in your home court and get the case acceptance before they leave. I will show you how to do it, and we will do it every time. Now, the next step about money is really making sure that you're showing the patient the big picture. I'll give you 2 simple things to take away tonight. Number 1 is a philosophy we call treat every patient like a new patient. You want to blow up the expansion of your specialty side of the practice, okay, with this powerful triad, okay, of sleep, TMD, and ortho all connected together, of course. If you want to do that, you simply have to treat every patient like a new patient. We have found that in every hygiene column, you have at least 1, if not 2, sleep starts available to you a day. Okay, the same goes for TMD or ortho. So if you have a general practice, some of you may desire to move into specialty only. You know, Dr. Rondeau, who doesn't give himself enough credit, not only a masterful dentist, he's a brilliant businessman, and he's managed to move up and out of his general practice while maintaining ownership and create a specialty only clinic. And that's been something that's been very powerful. And I've seen my doctors, we've done that time and time again. But sometimes we're simply expanding the general base by adding specialty procedures and growing different streams from within inside of the practice. Now, that's what I call the back end business. Now, in every other business, Amazon, which is having a stock rally right now, okay, Apple, you name any business you want, and all the big ones, Disney, who's about ready to buy the largest media company on the planet. Okay, if you look at these businesses, the secret to their business is not the front end. It's not what you see. It's what's behind the scenes. In my world, we call that the back end. Now, for many people, back end is patient retention. It's hygiene. Okay? It's creating referrals. Patients aren't just worth the dollars they give you. They're worth the referrals they bring. Okay? We're also looking at these three specialties we're talking about tonight. Most practices leave more money in the mouth than they get out. Okay? Most practices leave behind all of the back-end opportunity. So today, I have shared with you just one pillar, one simple seminar that we're going to be having within the Mastership program of bringing all of the differentiating methods to life in your practice. And we will be implementing all 7 that you see here on your screen. This is just one component. Now, I happen to think it's the most important one because at the end of the day, this is all about the patient. So you want to help more patients? You've got to have these things dialed in. In addition to that, we're going to be going through scheduling for growth. Your practice will only earn you the amount of money that the schedule is engineered to create. Of course, we're going to be talking about systems, but we're going to do more than talk. We're actually going to assess every system within your practice, and we're going to take each one of these and we're going to enhance them based on your clinical philosophy and your goals and objectives. Of course, we're going to grow profitably. Anybody can grow a big number. It's not hard to increase your production. And the hard part is making sure there's more money left for you at the end of the day. Besides, you want to be able to share with your team. Okay? Every great doctor I've ever known always wanted to give their team an opportunity for financial growth. And that's critically important because you'll only keep the best if they've got a chance to earn more along the way. Now, we're also going to have a very special session all about transitions, about whether you want to increase associate-based dentistry, whether you want to eventually sell out the practice, what your retirement position is. We're not going to just be talking about patients in dentistry and teams in your practice. We're going to be talking about you. That's about your goals, your lifestyle objectives, okay, your wealth ambitions. All of this, to me, you are my patient when you become a part of this program. And I'm going to be taking a comprehensive look at every aspect of your life. Tonight I've shared with you just about the new patient experience and engaging your patients in a personal way to cultivate more of the type of case that Dr. Rondeau has shared with you. So it's only through differentiation that you can achieve the lifestyle practice with rich and full life that you've worked so hard to achieve and that you truly deserve. You won't have many people sit here and tell you these kind of things. A practice that is free from competitive pressures, from dependency on insurance, and stresses due to corporations, that's a practice that you want. A practice that provides you not only with income as an owner, it's also a financial asset in your life so that you have multiple streams feeding the growth of your practice, feeding the income into your business. So I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I guess I'll turn it back over to Dr. Rondeau, and I would just say one final thing. Remember this, the success you can achieve in this amazing profession, I believe the greatest profession in healthcare that ever existed, it will always be limited by the structure of your business. No matter how many courses you go to, no matter how many skills you have, your ability to grow is always going to be based on your ability to lead your team, to improve your communications, and to cultivate case acceptance from your patients. You will only be as good as your business is designed to be. That's why I'm very honored to join together with Dr. Rondeau to participate in this really extraordinary opportunity with the Mastership program to help bring more of that to life for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. And Dr. Rondeau, the screen's back up. Also, we're at the top of the hour, so we're going to move to the question and answer session. I know Dr. Rondeau is going to do a nice little recap for you and tell you the most important things you should have gotten out of this session. And I'm going to go ahead and drop in the handout for the quiz, so you should be able to see that in just a second. You can go ahead and check that out, and you get your CE credit. We'll talk more about that later. If you have any questions, lee@rondeauseminars.com. And I put that in the chat as well. But Dr. Rondeau, go ahead and tell us to kick off, conclude and wrap up the session, and then we'll move to the question and answer session.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed learning about that Carrière appliance. And again, Scott, thank you very much for your input. I was making notes, as I always do every time you speak. And I use a lot of your ideas for our weekly meetings, but the staff are just fired up. I mean, by spending 2 days with you, it just changed my whole practice. And they're highly motivated. You got them filling out job descriptions. We had some change in staff, and we forgot to move the job descriptions around. It just if I don't call a meeting, they're there every week at 9 o'clock on Monday. We work from 10 to 7 on Monday. It's just I'm just so happy that I met you and you've helped my practice, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to help more dentists, because I think all of us know when we graduate we didn't learn anything about business, and we all go out and borrow $1 million for a practice with no business experience. I mean, it's unbelievable when you think of it. And I was very happy when I went to your course and met with, I think you had 7 or 8 offices there with all their staff, and I talked to all the dentists, and they were all very pleased that they've been with you, many of them for 1 to 2 years, and all very happy, and my staff are happy. So again, everybody, I hope that this is something that will appeal to you. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that one thing that I think I've neglected to do in my teaching career is help with case diagnosis. So the level 2 course is going to be half lecture, I'll be showing cases, and half case diagnosis. So we'll be encouraging all the dentists to bring 5 cases in on a flash drive, and they'll be presenting the cases for 2 half days. And that will give you help with your own cases, plus you'll see probably another 40 or 50 other cases that other dentists have diagnosed. And I think it'll really hone your diagnostic skills, because I think the biggest problem is you need help with cases while you're learning. And so we're going to be providing that for you. It'll be a super duper study club. And as I say, we'll show you how to set up your cases on the flash drive and show your own cases, because that's part of the level 2 advanced course. So again, lectures half a day cases, and then the evening with Scott. I think it's going to be a phenomenal program, and I just hope that you can see yourself clear to take it. So again, including 2 staff members. So it starts in March, and if you're interested, please call me and ask more details, or call Lee and look on the website for information on the mastership program. Again, Scott, thank you very much for your participation. I thought you were right on tonight. And did you want to answer some questions now, Don? There's some questions to answer?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of quick ones is, just people were wondering if this is going to be recorded. It is. Also, hotel in Nashville. Lee's on that. She's got a line on a good hotel, but more to come on that. But let's go back to Dr. Sharsher. And this is an orthodontics question. To close the space posterior to the laterals, would you use a power chain? Or
yes.
would the class 2 replays?
No, I would tie the cuspid to the molars with stainless steel ligature tie, like they call it undertying, and tie those teeth together, and then just put a power chain from cuspid to cuspid. And you could also, if you've got the lowers bracketed, you could put a triangular elastic to sock the cuspid in class 1, so that you could leave the cuspids, leave the posterior teeth. The posterior teeth are perfect. They're class 1 molar, class 1 cuspid. All you have to do is close the spaces between the anterior teeth. So I would use a power chain first, and then if I detorque the teeth too much, I would use a 1925 titanium wire with 20-degree torque in the wire from lateral to lateral. So you can buy that from Shine or Serum Ortho. It's a 1925 titanium wire, it's called, and you measure from lateral to lateral, and it comes in 34 and 38 millimeters, and it just torques the laterals and the centrals if you detorque them too much with your power chain. So, but I just think the cases are going to go so fast. It's amazing. I mean, Dr. Carrière were showing cases finished in 15 months, and they were showing cases that after the sagittal correction with the motion, using Invisalign to finish the cases. Because Invisalign has a real trouble trying to get a class 2 molar fixed with class 2 elastics and Invisalign. So this is just the Invisalign dentists are just loving this. And I've been amazed that a lot of orthodontists are using a lot of Invisalign. And I even had an orthodontist interested in buying my practice. And he does almost all Invisalign, but he doesn't do TMD, he doesn't do sleep, he doesn't do early treatment. So I can't sell it to him because I want my patients to be looked after the way I look after them and not with Invisalign alone. But maybe we should look at Invisalign and Carrière together as another something that patients really want. So I'm going to revisit that. So I hope that question's answered correctly.
I think it is. So Dr. Rondeau, this is, and I'm not sure if this is better for Scott or you, so let's start with you, but Dr. Albert has two questions. It says, he makes a comment, the ortho appliance is very good, thank you for sharing. We explain to our patients about benefits of orthodontics for them, but many people do not accept treatment. What do you say to patients to help them make decision to start orthodontic treatment today?
Well, I think you're right. You got to point at the benefits, and I'm not having much trouble having patients. Now, remember what Scott said was very important. Scott said the staff play an important role in pre-educating the patient. So in my office, as everybody knows who takes my courses, my staff, highly trained, educated, great communicating staff, meet with all new patients for half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. And if it's ortho, they'll spend maybe half an hour. And if it's a child, they'll show them different colored appliances. They'll show them the motion. They'll show them the book. They'll talk mother to mother and child to child. I mean, it's just they pre-sell it. And by the time I walk in the room, the patient is convinced, because Scott will tell you that patients believe the hygienist and the dental assistant before they believe the dentist. They think we're making money, so therefore we have a vested interest. They think they're providing health and education. So my cases are pre-sold by my staff. I would recommend that dentist come to Scott's course, because he will get that staff motivated and trained, because that's the key to my success. I mean, I certainly have patients who say no to treatment, but boy, not very many, because as soon as they realize they want it, and you have to let but a lot of patients come to me and say, what are we going to do about this crooked tooth, or what are we going to do about this crossbite, or what are we going to do? But the key is the staff. You have to educate the staff. That's why we're having the staff involved in the mastership program. I just told Scott tonight, I'm wondering what we're going to do if someone wants to bring 3 or 4 though. We might have a problem, because you really need to get as many people involved as you can. But hopefully, if you bring 2, they can go back to the office and work on the things that they learned during those 2 months, and read the books, 7 books that Scott wrote. He's also going to be providing notes for them to do and exercises. I think they're going to be busy, but I think I would just devote that year to learning about how to manage your practice and run your practice. And your staff have to believe in you, obviously. If the staff believe that you're the best dentist and you provide the highest quality care. And I agree with Scott. I'm so lucky to be a dentist. I mean, we're so lucky. Physicians, I was at the meeting the other night with fibromyalgia and chronic pain, and physicians give pain pills for everything, and they give medication for everything, and we're actually getting at the cause of the problem. If it's a TMJ problem, it's a structural problem, we fix it. If they're grinding their teeth at night, we fix it. If they can't breathe at night because they have no oxygen, we fix it. I mean, we're solving problems like forever and improving patients' health. I was so glad when at that fibromyalgia meeting, chronic pain meeting, that I was in the healthcare field and providing this service to patients rather than just crowns and bridges and fillings. Not that there's anything wrong with crowns and bridges and fillings, but I think I really like my practice because a health-oriented practice. And honestly, and to answer your question again, get your staff involved, get your staff educating the patient, pre-educating the patient. They say yes when I walk in the room. I mean, if I wasn't there, the practice would still run. That's my answer.
Scott, did you want to chime in? Or I've got another couple questions for you as well, Scott.
I think Dr. Rondeau said it beautifully. you know, he said within there, he mentioned about, you know, they come in with an idea. What are we going to do about this crooked tooth? What are we going to do about? And there's one really magical question at the end of the clinical experience, provided your team member has done the proper building of the case. And how do you build the case? You do everything that you have within your capabilities. You take all the necessary photographs, extraoral. Obviously, if we're dealing with ortho, gotta take extraoral, but in general dental setting, many people, they take only intraoral. No patient climbs inside of their mouth every day looking in the mirror to find the intraoral photos. They look at their face the way they see extraoral. So you have to start big picture, then go down into the small quadrants. So you take those pictures, if you put those up, the team member engages with those things properly, and when the doctor comes in, all you got to do is ask the patient, what do you want to do about this? And I think the secret to case acceptance is you flip a switch from making it the doctor's idea to making it the patient's idea. Any patient will buy what is their idea. So if you are going through and presenting treatment, any treatment, ever, any treatment, to a patient, and they haven't said yes clinically, okay, then they should never go to the next step. So a lot of people have problem with case acceptance is they're printing off treatment plans. The patient has no idea what's going to be on the page because there really wasn't full disclosure in the operatory. And that's a little different with Ortho Sleep TMD because obviously we're focused on a very specific topic where the solution is not that the clinical solution is obvious, but at least the type of procedure we're going to do is relatively obvious. So if you have not taken the patient to a state of you know, really desiring to change, then you know it's too early to present treatment. You may have to bring them back. You may have to give them some before and afters. And one of the things, and the last thing I'll say about this, let me tell you why patients accept treatment. More people will say yes because of the consequences of saying no than they will because of the benefits of saying yes. So if you say you're going to sleep in the other bed for the rest of your marriage, what happens if the other person doesn't keep coming back home every night? Okay, if you have sleep apnea, you're going to die early. If that's not enough to bother you, your spouse doesn't like you anymore. Okay, so the point is you have to get real with the patient. You know, we talk about kids. This is and Dr. Rondeau knows all the great orthodontists, so I don't want to poo-poo on orthodontists, but let me tell you, they're still talking about straight teeth and making the patient not be made fun of. Well, that's fine for some people, okay? But a parent who never had money to get orthodontists when they were a kid, they may not see it that relevant. When you talk to the parent about expanding the airway, not contracting the bite, when you talk to them about making the patient, the kid, be able to have life-changing impacts to their mental health, okay, to their emotional well-being, these are things the parent doesn't want to take a chance. So sometimes it's about consequences of inaction that drive the case acceptance versus the benefits of moving forward with the treatment. So you really have to be in tune with the patient and with what's going to move them.
And one other thing that I've learned from you, Scott, I can't believe it took me, this long to learn it. Ask questions. Ask more questions. And the more questions I ask, the more the patient seems to enjoy it, the more they think I'm interested in them, which I am. And the problem with most dentists, we want to talk all the time. So you've taught me to ask more questions, and I think my patient acceptance is even going higher. I mean, all the things you've taught us. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Ask more questions, and you'll have better results.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, let's see. Next question. Scott, I'm going to combine these because there's a couple here for you, and we're just running short on time. I did have a question about the CE. There should be a PDF in the handout. You guys can take a look at that, scratch it out, and, fill it out, email it to Lee, and I'll email that form out to the entire list as well tomorrow if you don't have time. But what we have here is, Scott, what is the typical increase you expect to see in a practice from the course? And then I'm going to combine a couple others here. How long to start seeing effect, and I'm really summarizing. And what are some of an example of a method or way you teach practices to get new patients in the mastership course? So sorry for
that's great. No, that's cool. No, listen, I'm sure it's especially late there on the East Coast, so we'll do it quick. Okay, number one, the typical growth. Well, here's what I can say. there's probably no more intimate involvement that you could possibly have with Dr. Rondeau and myself than in the mastership program. So going through this sequential year-long immersion, you're going to get a compounding effect. The reason is because at each course we're working on very specific and tangible things that are then going to be implemented into practice. So as a rule of thumb, listen, I would be bored out of my mind if somebody wasn't going to have some 20 to 30% increase after the very first course. Now, you have some people, Dr. Rondeau's a veteran. He just told me he's up 25% this year over last year, which was already a great year. Okay, and you know, he plays golf 1 week a month. So, and he's teaching 100 days a year. So, you know, he's got a full-time practice, but he's not there that much. So he's up leaps and bounds. So if you look at this, it's really based on the doctor's ambition. But I can tell you that you do the math on one extra specialty case a day. Now, if we can't knock down one more sleep, one more ortho, one more TMD, so you take an average of whatever $3,000 to $7,000, depending on which of the three types of cases it is, 3,000. So let's just put it in the middle, $5,000. 5 times 4 days a week, if you're working, you know, relatively full time for a dentist, okay, that's 20. If you multiply that by 4, that's 80. Everybody knows 80,000 a year is just a shy, small little piece under $1 million. Okay, so if we can't grow the price by $1 million, I'd be surprised. One case a day out of the deal flow that's coming in, and that's not even talking about all the other things we're going to be doing. But you know, you got to want it. Okay, I mean, it's not going to fall out of the sky. The other questions, I think, you know, I think I lost the second one, but let's talk about new patients. Inside of this program, the new patient strategies that we're going to give you will cost you nothing, okay, zero. I'm a marketer. I love marketing. Dr. Rondeau is a masterful marketer. Okay, we collaborate together. We're going to be doing a lot more things together, all on marketing. But when it comes down to it, dentistry is a human-based business. You don't have to spend bunches of money to get lots of patients coming in. If you're doing things right, every patient is going to go tell somebody. So we're going to work from the inside out. Okay, we're going to create referral structures inside of your new patient experience. Dr. Rondeau does something brilliantly. I think he's doing it long before me, but I call it the couples consult, or the family, if it's ortho or even sleep. It's a family consult. At the end of one person in the family accepting treatment, you pull out a nice little certificate and say, congratulations on what you're doing. Hey, we've always found that ortho works best if 2 people in the family are doing it together. Okay, how memorable is that? So if you decide that you'd be interested in straightening your teeth today, okay, well, we're going to provide you with a special reduction in the overall investment, just because we believe in family orthodontics. Now, that's just one simple idea that, of course, would need to be refined and customized for your practice. But there's, you know, a half a dozen different structures like that to put into practice that can grow without costing $1. Then we're also going to go and work from the outside in. We do that through centers of influence. We do that through the example that I mentioned that Dr. Rondeau was just doing yesterday, okay, about educating the community. Okay, all of these things can be done with your team. Let me tell you, I'll give you the 2 little secrets tonight. And look, if we're giving you this, I don't know that this course costs any money or not. Maybe Dr. Rondeau took all the money. I got nothing. Yeah, I'm just teasing. This course tonight, imagine if you get this kind of stuff for free. Imagine what we're going to give you when we're going through a year together, okay? So number 1 strategy for getting new patients. Okay, you're going to take every patient who walks through the door, and you're going to get a list of all the doctors, every doctor in their life. And when that patient becomes a patient, you're going to send a nice letter to that doctor. You can do it one of 2 ways, depends on how forward you want to be. First way, you're going to say, thank you so much for recommending your patient to visit to our practice. Okay, we met them recently. We wanted to update you about their care. Now, the doctor didn't refer the patient to you, but it's their patient also. So as professional colleagues, you've got to update each other about what's going on. We call this the reverse referral. It's taking a patient, instead of waiting for a doctor to hand deliver you a patient, okay, you reverse engineer and go back to their other doctors to bridge the relationship forward. The second strategy, and this is the best, if you want to really build any one of these niches, the secret is to go to other offices that are going to refer you patients and screen all their team members. So you want to get patients from a pediatric physician. you know, you want to do sleep for kids or ortho for kids, you go to their office, you do lunch and learn, and you invite all the team members in that office, okay, to go through TMJ or you know, you do a sleep, you know, ask them the 4 or 5 questions about sleep. You engage the other clinical team members from other practices. And if those people become your patients, they'll be your greatest referral source there is. So I always say the more appliances we can get on the mouths of other healthcare professionals in the community, the more referrals you're going to get. The more ortho we can get on the kids or parents of other healthcare professionals in the community, the more referrals you're going to get. So it's really about a grassroots approach that costs you nothing. So that's just an example of some of the things that we're going to be talking about.
Thank you, Scott. I think we better end it now, and thanks again. I think when you get that guy going, you can see he's pretty good. So anyway, I guess thank you very much, all of you, for showing up. There's still 54 people listening in after an hour and a half, so that's very good. Dawn, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You did a great job, as you always do. And you can wrap it up then, Dawn. Just you have to, I guess they get the test, eh? To get the 1 hour CE credit. Maybe they're going to get an hour and a half of CE credits because it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, we had a lot of great information. We weren't sure how long it was going to go, but I'm glad we got it all in, and you're patient. We had some great questions. So thank you for the audience, for coming out and, you know, showing your dedication to self-improvement. Thank you, Dr. Rondeau, for all the great information. Thank you, Scott. Awesome information as well. Good, exciting stuff, and great to see avenues to success. So everybody tonight with, oh, by the way, we're going to be doing more of these great events. This is just the start, so we'll keep putting them up, and we're going to record them, and we'll get just more information to you from Dr. Rondeau and Scott so you can see what it's all about, understand, and improve. So with that said, good night. The webinar is now concluded.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.